Hey everybody, Coach O'Connor here, doing a fall check-in with you. I think we're in the middle of September, coming up on my wife's birthday, and want to go over something today that it's a broad view of what we go through as human beings, and many of us have these things happen to us, and unconsciously we're aware of this cycle of change. But I want to put it into perspective and actually name it for you today so that you have an understanding, so that when you're in some of these phases that you realize it's just a phase. It's just a phase. So universal cycle of change, there's 7 phases to it: creation, growth, complexity to maturity, turbulence, chaos, dropping off, dormancy. So we're going to explore those 7, and the cycle repeats. And it's not unique to human beings because nature goes through it. But I wanted to at least let you know some of the shortcomings human beings have with this system of change, where we get stuck a lot of the times. So let's talk about this creation. Creation is a new beginning. It's a starting point. There's always a starting, aha, eureka, a great idea. Could be a blueprint, could be a script. Generally, it's an idea. And sometimes that idea is getting married or beginning a family or a business, buying a stock, buying a car, doing a painting or writing a book, planting a seed, right? You're planting a seed. This is a creation phase. Once the seed's in the ground, you start to get growth. That's the second phase, is growth. So in the development, this is a self-organizing system, so that as you start to develop, you'll see growth in after this creation. You might have a child. They go to school, or you got to buy diapers. They go to school. They graduate from school. They go to college. They graduate from college. They get married, and the cycle's on and on. The stock might rally and you might rise, and you might see the seed you planted, the tree may begin to grow. I remember my neighbors back in Redford, Fran and Brian, when they first got married, they planted a small tree on the boulevard, and it was just amazing to watch that thing grow. And it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. By the time we moved out of Redford, they had to take the tree down. It was so huge. But I remember the day they planted it as a stick. But the growth phase is exciting. This is an exciting time. Then you move into the next phase. So once you got the growth, your life, you're not on easy street, because then it gets complex. So complexity to maturity is that next phase. You've got an overgrowth where you need to do some trimming. The tree starts to get leaves. The kid needs new shoes. The car that you got runs great for the first couple years. Then it begins to mature. So you got some complexity and maturity going on in this phase. That leads to turbulence. The next phase is turbulence. Things get too complex. Problems begin. You're getting feedback from the system that, hey, not everything's working out. Something has to shift. Stocks go up, the stocks go down, the car's making noise. This phase of turbulence moves into the next phase, which is chaos. So now the system's falling apart. The leaves are starting to turn brown and starting to get really dry on the vine. The relationships starting to have problems. There's the car's blowing blue smoke. So you got some chaos going on. The kids are having trouble at school, or the relationship's really having some ups and downs. There comes a phase after the chaos phase, which is called dropping off. And it's hard to let go for humans. It's hard to drop some things off. We think it's not natural for some reason. But a snake will shed its skin, no problem. A dog has no problem shedding all over your couch. But humans, for some reason, they try to hold on to things. Sometimes you have to let go of the old car, right? I'm in my 60s, and I bet I've had nearly 60 cars. I always think this is going to be the last car I ever have to buy. It's not. I have 4 cars now, and I think about all 4 of them are ready to be turned in to another. I'm ready to drop some off. Letting go, though, dropping off opens up space for more creation. But prior to getting to that phase, after you drop some things off, you're going to notice the final phase of the universal cycle of change, which is dormancy. And this can be a tough time for some of us because it's a time of reflection. It's a time of sometimes loneliness. This winter, look around at the trees. You'll see there's no leaves on them. And they look like they're not even going to be a part of the next season. It looks like this guy's not going to make it. I know last year we had so much snow on our, we had these like snowflower bushes, and we had an ice storm, and it looked like everything was going to die. And I remember going out there and taking 2 feet of snow off them and trying to rescue them. They lay dormant all winter, ice on them. And guess what? They did fantastic this year. But there's a season of dormancy coming. This is the time to step back and prepare for the next phase. And dormancy can rejuvenate. This is a good time for meditation and prayer. Because what generally happens in the dormancy phase is a new idea pops up. And what's that mean? Creation starts all over again. So now you've got a new starting point. Boom. Creation starts. You're going to go through your growth period. It's going to run into some complexity and maturity. There's going to be some turbulence along the way. Chaos will show its head up. Then you're going to have to drop some things and refine it a little bit and then lay dormant. And then the creation will start. The hardest thing to do is let go of an old car, right? That's served you faithfully. You think, oh, I can always get one more year out of it. Or your new roof. I mean, I can maybe get one more year out of my roof. Or I can maybe get one more. I've had this shirt. I got this shirt probably. This was given to me by a friend of mine maybe in 2009. So, and it wasn't new. It was a hand-me-down from him. So, what did I say? Sometimes you got to let go of the shirts. This probably doesn't even fit anymore, right? I was a lot thinner 15 years ago. So that's my 2 cents tonight. Is you're going to go through this universal cycle of change whether you like it or not. It's going to happen to you. I will guarantee it's going to happen in not just one area of your life, but in many areas of your life. Like your love life is going to go through this. Like your finances are going to go through this. Like your health is going to go through this. And they're not always going to be in the same, like, for instance, my social life may be in a dormancy phase. I may not be spending the time with my peers like I should. Although tonight we played some horseshoes in a men's ministry and it was really nice. But so this might be a new phase, a creation phase or a growth phase. But it's not the same as my health, my physical health. Now I'm at a point now where I'm in the creation phase. What am I going to do now? I've retired from martial arts. Am I going to just join the gym? I'm going to start a little gym myself. Am I going to just work out in my backyard with my son like I have been doing? Or am I going to, I'm going to create something? So I'm in that aha phase for that. My relationship with my wife might be in the complexity to maturity. We're getting old. Her birthday's coming up. I don't want to tell you how old she is. But we're not spring chickens anymore. And what does that tell you? and after we're going to be looking at some turbulence in our health, right? And in some chaos, and we're going to have to let some things go. I might have to stop drinking coffee at 9 o'clock at night. So long story short, the 7 areas or the 7 phases in this cycle of change: creation, growth, complexity to maturity, turbulence, chaos, dropping off, and then dormancy. And if you can learn to enjoy these and identify these phases where you're at in different areas of your life, I'll tell you, it makes the journey a lot more spectacular, because you know right around the corner what's coming up. If you're enjoying a growth phase right now, guess what? There's going to be some complexity and maturity. Then there's going to be some turbulence. You know, a lot of my friends were very, very wealthy in 2008, and then in the middle of the year, when the crash hit, they were panicking. They went into turbulence and chaos, and guess what happened? They had to drop some things off. They had to drop some of their investments. They had to give some things back to banks. They lay dormant for a little while. They recreated themselves. They began the cycle all over again. And many of those people that got hurt in 2008 have returned to, thriving. But that's the cycle of change. It's going to happen to all of us. So hope you enjoyed this one. If you want some more information, just go ahead and hit me up on Messenger. I would love to talk to you about different areas of your life and what phase you think you're in. Or if you get stuck in a phase and you think, oh, this will never end. The chaos does end. But it generally takes you dropping some things off and then being able to I remember one time my dad told me this. He said, I said, I'm just hurting, Dad. He goes, well, Tom, sometimes you just have to hurt. And dormancy is a time where there is some hurt, but there's also a great time of reflection and peace in meditating and prayer. And I'll just say, if you learn to enjoy each one of these phases, it makes the journey much more pleasant. So that's what I wanted to check in with you on. We'll check with you next week. Have a great week.